You don't hate California. I mean, come on, let's face it. What's there to hate? It's too beautiful. The weather's too perfect. There's too much to do out here. Give me a break. When people say they hate California, what they're saying is they don't like their politics. And I get it. If you don't like their politics, that's understandable. But don't come here and tell me California's a dumpster fire. If you don't live here, you don't know. And trust me, what you're seeing on the news is not the full truth, especially if you're watching certain channels. They're going to portray it terrible. And that's fine, really, because we don't want any more people coming here that are already here. Yeah, we have a lot of people here because people do want to be here. Do you blame them? If you're going to be homeless, this is the place to be homeless, my God. The weather is beautiful. I'd want to be homeless on the beaches out here. But there's no perfect place. Even if you like the politics where you're at, tell me where you're at, and I bet you I can find a million reasons not to like it. It's okay not to, like the politics, like I said, of different states or whatever, but you can't go around just slamming the state because you don't like their politics. Well, I guess you could, but that's kind of ignorant. I hear from a lot of people that, or at least honest. They're like, yeah, I like California, but it's kind of pricey, or, it's very populated. There's a lot of traffic. Absolutely. I totally get that. And that's true. Those are the things that we are willing to put up with to live here. Some people aren't willing to put up with that, and that's fine. There's some states that I like, but I don't want to live there because I don't want to put up with the humidity, or I don't want to put up with their harsh winters, or I don't want to put up with, their people or their politics. So yeah, I get it, but it doesn't mean I'm going to knock the whole state. So like I said, when people come and they tell me how they just hate California, usually they've never been here. They've just, heard about it, and they believe everything they hear. But why do you think so many people live here? Why do you think so many people are willing to pay the price to live here? Because it is expensive. There's got to be a reason, right? And we are willing to pay that. We like the cultural diversity. Some people don't like that. We like that there's so much to do. We have the Sierras and great, state parks and the giant redwoods and the beaches and the mountains and the deserts, and we got it all. Let's face it, we got it all. And the people that live here are amazing. I love California people. California is a mindset, and I know people hate that too. It sounds new age or whatever, too frou-frou, but if you don't like that, then yeah, you wouldn't like living here. But those of us that live here, we get it. We know California is a vibe. It is a mindset. And it is not for everybody. My oldest brother absolutely hated it. He lived in a very small town in the Midwest, and he was very happy there. And I liked it. I liked where he was at too. I couldn't live there. I wouldn't have been as happy as he was, because this is where I'm meant to be. This is where my life is. But I don't go around knocking other states. When people tell me, oh, I live in Tennessee or Texas, I never go, oh my God, what a dumpster fire. How can you guys stand living there? It's got to be such a drag with all the cowboys, and it's a dust bowl. I don't go on there and say, oh my God, look at this. I gotta pull over. I'm gonna turn the camera around. It's probably not even gonna show up. God, can you see? Oh. Can you see the moon back there? Look at that. Oh my God. And this isn't even the full moon. I think that's Tuesday. Wow. How cool is that, you guys? And it's not even the full moon yet. It's not till like Tuesday, I don't think. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. So yeah, I just have to address that, because I just, I get a lot of that, when I was talking about why I decided to retire in California. Most people were polite, but there's a few people that come on here and they're just besides themselves, because they just want, they hate California so much. And one person actually said, they're glad I stay here because they don't want me to come Californianate their state. Whatever. You'd be blessed to have me in your state. Give me a break. California people yeah, we're different. And those are the people I like. Those are my people, but I like all people, and that's another thing. Californians are usually more accepting of others than people are of us. We have big hearts and we're way more open-minded. The lighting is terrible. I got the sun right behind me. I should move. But anyway, before I get started on this, I wanted to, before I go into my big rant, because I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood. And I wanted to share that with you guys. But I wanted to give a shout out to another content creator who has a wonderful channel. And for whatever reason, the YouTube algorithms just don't pick it up. I do not understand how that works. I think it's luck, to be honest with you, because I see so many channels like this one I'm going to recommend to you that are absolute gems, good quality channels, and they're just not getting the views. And it's not because of them. They have quality content, but YouTube just doesn't push them out. So we have to help them, and hopefully through word of mouth and sharing them, the more people watch them, the more then YouTube will then push them out. So go take a look at My Life Journey with Rose. She's absolutely lovely. She's from South Africa. I could listen to her just read the phone book. She's got an amazing accent. She's very inspirational. She talks about a lot of things that impact us as we get older, our mental health, our physical health. And she just has a lot of great content. And it's just, I find her very inspirational and very down to earth. And I wanted to give her a shout out. And there's a ton of other ones I want to, but that's all this video would be about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of links in the description of this video, and I'm going to call them my cool older chicks. And there's a few cool older guys too. They have retirement channels, and so they're all going to be in there. And my carnivore guru, my buddy George. So I'm going to put a few links in there. If you're looking for new stuff to watch, check it out. Go give these guys a look. And if you like their channel, share them, because that's the only way we can get them pushed out. Does not know what it's doing, because it is pushing out some channels that are absolute garbage. Trust me, they come across my feed and I'll click on them because I think, well, their YouTube says I would like this one, so I'm going to watch it, and they've got thousands of views, so it must be good, right? The one is literally, all it is this woman is sharing her life, which maybe it might appeal to some people. I feel like her life is even more boring than mine, but she does it while she's eating. She's always eating, and she makes food noises and lip smacking and slurping her coffee, and oh my God, that kind of stuff just drives me up a wall. But apparently it's ASMR, and some people get off on that. They enjoy that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. There's no quality to her content, I don't think. I'm not going to say who she is because I don't want to put her down, but everybody to each his own, whatever. But it's like, what's so special about my channel? What makes it appeal to some people? I don't even know, to be honest with you. But like I said, I think it's just luck. My niche is me, my life story, and I just think, despite what Richard said, I had pinned his comment a while back. I don't know if his last name was Richard or his first name was Richard. I think maybe it was Bryce. Anyway, it turns out this guy's been watching me for a while. One of my other subs pointed it out. I didn't even realize. It was like, oh yeah, because he's made weird comments way back when, and I just didn't think anything of it. But he wanted to let me know, he was making an observation, not a criticism. And then he goes on to criticize me because I'm a boomer, and he said, we don't know shit, we don't learn shit, we ain't worth shit or something, just very critical. And he said I need to be more entertaining. So, yeah, I need to work on being more entertaining. And I tried to explain to him that I'm not an entertainer. It's not what my channel is about. I'm just sharing my journey, and other people can relate, because not everybody, like I said, is super successful. I have a very mediocre life, but for the most part, I'm content with it. And, and I'm trying to let other people know that, you don't have to have millions of dollars and be super crazy successful to be happy, even though, in some people's eyes, I'm sure I'm a big fat failure, but overall, I'm happy. But I'm going through some struggles in life right now, and that's what I do. I share my struggles, and I hope I can help other people that might be in the same position. I'm older. I'll be 64 this month. But when I say I'm older, I'm proud of it. It just means I've lived a long time. I'm not putting myself down. I say that a lot too. I'm a healthy, youngish 60-something-year-old woman. And old is not a bad word to me. Some people are so offended when you say they're old. They think it means they're decrepit and, got one foot in the grave. I don't look at it that way at all. I'm a proud older woman, and I want other women that I see so many strong, mature women that are over 50 that are ashamed to admit how old they are because it's frowned upon, in this society where, youth is everything. People are afraid to admit that they've lived this long. I'm not afraid of that. I don't care. But yeah, my channel is basically me, and I talk a lot about retirement and Social Security and things that are important to me. Some people have asked that I share more on certain things, and I will eventually. They want to know more about my family life, my husband. I did a video on that a while back. Nobody cared. I got like 400 views. I was proud of it. We were celebrating our 43rd wedding anniversary, and I wanted to give my advice, of how we managed to get through 43 years without killing each other. I thought it would be, a popular video, but nobody cares. People are more concerned. They want to hear more drama, and I get it. I do too. I'm not putting anybody down for that. That's what grabs our attention. We like things that are a little more dramatic, and it wasn't very dramatic. But so yeah, I do share some of my family stuff. Not as much with my grandkids. I kind of keep that somewhat private. I have shared some. I've shared our family vacations, if you want to look for them. My grandkids are in those videos and stuff. But my husband's very private. I've had just bits and pieces of him because I choose to do YouTube. He doesn't. He didn't ask to be on this. So out of respect for him, I don't film him a lot. You'll hear him in the background, and you'll see him. He's in a few of my videos here and there, but for the most part, it's just me. And talking about living in California, I love talking about that because you would not believe how many people it pisses off. I swear, there's some people out there just hate California, and I don't think they hate California because you can't hate California. California is flipping amazing, right? It's beautiful. The weather's amazing. They hate the politics. It's like, it's okay. You don't have to agree with the politics, but don't slam the whole state. It's freaking amazing. I mean, come on. Everybody knows that, It just is funny to me that people that hate it that much. People talk about the homeless problem. Yeah, we did have a lot of homeless because everybody wants to be here, and if you're going to be homeless, this is the place to be homeless in, I get it. But they're working on that. They're trying to find help for these people. And it's not so much the whole state. It's in the bigger cities, obviously. I live in a small town. There's lots of small towns in California, and they're clean and quiet and beautiful. Like I said, it is a little bit pricier. You pay for it though, and the people that live here, every one of them said they're willing to pay the extra price. I'd rather be out here and be poor than live somewhere else and be in a mansion and be flipping miserable. California is a mindset. It's a vibe, and that I know that people hate that too. They just don't understand it, but it really is. It's just the culture out here. And I visited other places that I thought were nice, but I could tell it's not, the culture's totally different. They're not as open or as accepting, and I couldn't live anywhere like that. I need to be where there's more diversity, and it's a lot more interesting, I'll tell you that. But a lot of people disagreed with the fact that I said that I have friends that left, they moved, and they really regret it. I'm not saying everybody does. I'm sure there's a few people that are happy. If they weren't happy here, that's fine. But personally, I think if you're moving because, you're miserable, it's not always the place. It could just be you, but I can bloom wherever I'm planted. I'll be fine. But I've moved around, and we've even tried to leave California. We did when we were younger because it was tough. We were struggling, but we came back. We tried it 2 different times, and both times we're like, no, this isn't it. It's not the same. It's not the same. So we moved back, and we're so glad we did. We're here for life now, and I'm glad I raised my kids here. My kids are super outdoorsy. They've grown up doing things that they would have never done if I had raised them anywhere else. They've gone on so many amazing trips out here. We have beautiful state parks and rivers and lakes and the ocean and the mountains and deserts, and they've done rock climbing and kayaking and canoeing, and even their schools have gone on trips where they've gone deep sea diving and snorkeling, and this is on field trips. You don't do that in too many other states. So yeah, I'm so excited that I was able to bring them up out here. I know it opened a whole new world for them, and they all have some amazing stories. I wished I had grown up out here. My parents lived out here briefly when I was younger. My dad was in the Marines, and we lived in Camp Pendleton, and that was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But then we moved back to Nebraska, and so my teen years were spent in Nebraska, which was fine. I'm not anti-Midwest. It holds a spot in my heart, and I love Midwestern people. They're amazing people, but there just wasn't as much to do. And out here, there's so much to do, and my kids, they take advantage of all of it. They're all very outdoorsy, and now they're raising their kids to be that way. So I'm happy about that. How much have I talked? Okay, I probably should cut this off. I was going to include some footage. You know what? I'm going to make a separate video because I know some of you actually like watching me do Uber. And so I did a video, and it was already like 15 minutes. So I'll post that one later on today if you're interested in it. It's just me doing Uber and lots of scenery, driving around. I chit chat a little bit, but for the most part, it's just me doing my Uber delivery. So, but anyway, yeah, those channels, go check them out. I think you'll appreciate it. I've got some retirement channels in there. I put them in the top, and very helpful. And then I've got JB in there for content creators, and then the rest is all my wonderful, beautiful, mature lady friends, my cool older chicks, and they have channels, and I'll talk about more of them in future videos. But yeah, go check them out. Let me know what you think, and then share them with your friends if you think that they might be interested. So this is dead. I think I'm done for the night. I think I'm going to go home and see what my husband's making for dinner. So I will see you guys in the next video.